Okay, the next story quest is called Parley on the Front Lines, given to us by Hian in his enclave. Let's see what's up. We must leave now to convene with Eorzea's leaders, and it may be some time before I return to Doma. Hakuro, I leave you in command. My lord. Hakuro is the wolf man. I shall assemble an advance party with all haste, and join you in Alamigo forthwith, says Yugiri. She turns to leave. I've just received word from Lys. The Alliance has established a base camp near Alamigo's northeastern border. Once we've arrived in the locks, we're to report to a resistance officer stationed in Porta Praetoria who will point us in the right direction. Let's not keep them waiting, says Alisaie to me. And Hian, actually, because he nodded as well. Once again, the camera was positioned perfectly to have Hakuro with what looked like an exclamation point above his head. Meaning, I thought he had a quest. I can just go straight to Porta Praetoria, right? Because that's where my return is set to. So, kind of glad I have it there, I guess. So far, the only annoying expense I've had is getting to... It wasn't the... Oh, it was getting from the Alamigan Quarter to fucking the Doman Enclave, which... I figured out how to make it cost me a 100 gil less than a direct teleport would have, but at what expense? Time. Yeah, so... I mean, I have 2,494,000, so I probably shouldn't balk at 1,000, but whatever. Here's a resistance fighter, after we have returned straight to Porta Praetoria. Ah, you must be the Scion party I was told to look out for. If you'll follow me, I'll take you directly to Alliance headquarters. And we have the screen fades to black. We do have a cutscene, looks like. We see a wooden tower. We see like some archers in it. We see a couple like cannons that have like a rotational thing to them. Like they could rotate to the next ball or cannon shot would fire from it. Lys and Raban are at a war table.
Welcome back, you two. Greetings, Lord Hian. Glad you could join us.
Glad to be here. I would have come sooner, were our own defense is not in question, but I am pleased to report that our soldiers are assembling for deployment to Alamigo as we speak.
I tried mackerel for the first time today. I bought it as a can of mackerel, like kind of like a normal size, like an olive can. It was indistinguishable from other fish. But again, it was canned. It wasn't fresh, so I have no real basis to go off of. But it tasted like... I've had canned salmon. It tasted exactly like it. So, I don't know.
We're grateful for your support.
Thanks
to the efforts of our allies, it won't be long before we've established defensive positions on this front as well.
Also, the girl I've been going on dates with, it's too complicated to... You know what? Fuck it. I've vented to my landlord / roommate, housemate, but she said... I've been extremely sweet and patient and thoughtful, but she can't continue to date at this point in time. Not she can't continue to date me, but she can't continue to date. I would have liked a song and dance about the reasons, but something came up with her recently, not anything to do with me. It wouldn't be fair to move forward. We continued talking after that, like nothing bad. Like I just told her, hey, you know, I've had a lot of fun on our dates, and talking to her via text has been fantastic, but I told her, like, hey, at the risk of sounding lame, if in the next couple months you are in a better place and you want to continue, just let me know, because I probably will not have started talking to anybody new in earnest. And in all honesty, like, I didn't tell her this, but I kind of told her some version of this that was less extreme, but she's the first person I've really super duper enjoyed talking to since the ex that lives in Pittsburgh, or lived in Pittsburgh, that I moved across the country to be with. So, anyway, that's personal shit for me, and hope y'all are doing better, because today was a sad fucking day for me.
We have some good news too. Alphino has come back to us. As for the bad news...
She goes on to explain, the screen goes black, and we're back.
So, Alphino won't wake up, Gaius van Baelsar is alive and hunting Asians, and the Empire is planning to poison us all with toxic gas. Does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Ordinarily, any one of those things would have left me in shock. But the way things have been lately, it's all starting to seem pretty normal.
Yeah, it's been...
Getting back to your report, are we sure this Black Rose is the weapon Maxima was talking about?
It fits the description. And it seems we have Alphino to thank for sparing us an early demonstration of its effectiveness. I have a feeling this won't be the last time his bravery in the Empire will serve us here in Eorzea. The threat of an unknown weapon has had us all on edge. But now that we know what we're dealing with, we can take steps to defend against it.
Scientists had a groundbreaking conversation with a humpback whale in her own language. An article from December 18th, 2023. Apparently, AI has been quite useful in understanding a little bit better the languages of whales and dolphins. And a couple things I learned in some recent podcasts, and if you listen to the same podcast that I do, you'll know where I got this from, but I'd rather not say, because people have weird opinions about things, but... So dolphins can be taught some weird signals, like... do something you've never done before is one. And then do something with a friend or with another dolphin. And then those can actually be combined to the point where two dolphins will dive underwater, communicate with each other, and they will both do the exact same new thing that they've never done before. Also, dolphins and what are called false killer whales. Dolphins have their own language, false killer whales have their own language, and when they get together, they have yet another third language that they use between each other, between the dolphins and the false killer whales. So, interesting stuff. This is an interesting freaking world, you know? Sorry.
As for Gaius, I'm not sure what to think. Am I happy he's alive? Not in the slightest. Am I happy he's hunting Asians? Aye, I'd have to say I am.
Oh, speaking of Garleans you didn't expect to see, we have a tale of our own, as it happens. When we sent envoys to the Imperial Army to request talks, they returned with the message that Varis Galvus would be attending.
Mm-hmm.
The Emperor himself. Well, Varis did sanction the Popularis peace mission. But knowing that an Asian walks in his son's skin, I do not see how we can trust him or anyone from that nest of vipers.
The Alliance would proceed with negotiations regardless, if only to give ourselves more time to prepare. We do, however, require your cooperation.
Right. Yes. So, as a condition for the talks to go forward, the Empire has requested that a member of the Scions be present. There'll be a representative from each Alliance nation, of course, but I'm afraid we have to ask that you come along too.
Meaning Alisaie or me? Oh, yeah, Alisaie, obviously. I think I'm a Scion, technically.
God, Lise. You know how much I hate politics. But then, what choice do I have? Alphino and the others aren't going to do it. Very well. I shall attend as the Scion's representative.
In case you're wondering why I didn't ask you, the Empire also requested the presence of Eorzea's champion.
Ah, okay. I'll be there, or I'm not fond of politics either. I actually kind of am, so I'll be there. Okay.
That's settled then.
There's a lot more.
We don't know what Varis means to bring to the table, or why he wants you there, but having you close at hand will make all the difference.
There's a lot more mouth movement to my character than "I'll be there" warrants. "I'll be there" is literally 3 syllables. It's like, Sorry.
The meeting will take place on the border. Anticipating an early assault, we mean to position the bulk of our forces nearby.
The Alliance leaders should already be on their way. Once you're ready, we can head out and join them.
So what we had, I wonder if in BG3, unrelated, I'm sorry, if you can send, no, you can't send gold to your alts. Why would you be able to? It's not an MMO. By the way, I'm thinking about playing Guild Wars 2 again. Especially if I'm making videos of it, then it would be a better reason for me to like spend time exploring, which is what the game really wants you to do, because you can get a lot of experience points in Guild Wars 2 by like finding the vistas that are part of the game. Like there's a lot of vistas in every zone. The high points are like beautiful spots in the game. Well, I suppose it's polite to keep I don't suppose it's polite to keep an emperor waiting too long, shall we? Says Lise. Parley with the Empire? Sure. Emperor? Sure, yeah. It didn't tell me this was going to be long, but we have a cutscene. We're at a table with some well-armored Empire soldiers behind the table from us. Oh man, I thought I remembered her name for a second. The white mage from Gridania. Fuck, man. Why can't why can't I almost never remember her name specifically? She's got like a 3-part name. But the Varis comes in, sits at his side of the table against all of us.
Esteemed representatives of the Eorzean Alliance.
He's alone.
On behalf of the Garlean Empire, I thank you for inviting me here today.
I want to try to remember her name before.
As this parley was convened at your request, I invite you to speak first.
Very well, Your Radiance. I, Nanimo Ulnamo, 17th in the line of Ul, should be pleased to oblige you. As recent events in Alamigo and Doma have made plain, the subjugation and exploitation of neighboring nations is not a sustainable policy.
That rhymed for a bit. Nanimo, by the way, is sitting in the middle of our side of the table, so maybe that's why she's our representative?
Should this day end in war, you may very well defeat us. But you will never extinguish the people's desire for freedom. Though it may not be in our lifetime, there will be another revolution, another war, and the cycle will continue. Doma has entered into a concord with the nations of Eorzea, a partnership wherein we recognize one another as equals. Garlemald could be afforded similar treatment. You need only set aside your ambitions and join us in paving a path towards peace.
You will not win me over with sophistry, Your Grace. As you know only too well, this alliance lacks the strength to keep the peace within its own borders. Even now, your struggles with the Beastmen continue unabated.
Why can't I remember her fucking name?
Divided, you sow this fertile soil with the seeds of your differences and reap naught but discord and chaos for your trouble. Eorzea must be united under one leader, one purpose. I would offer you both and bring an end to your strife.
With all due respect, Your Radiance, the only thing that you offered the people of Alamigo was fear and hopelessness.
The citizens of Dorma can also attest to the meager arms of imperial rule. There is no purpose to be found in a life of oppression, each day more uncertain than the last.
Our people are willing to die for their freedom. A great many already have, and countless more will, if we don't put an end to this madness here and now.
Oh, Senna? Senna? Is that right? Senna? Oh. No. Senna is the last part of her name. Raya Senna? No, that's one of her siblings, I think, maybe. Fuck. Varis crosses his well-armored arms.
We brought order and stability to your lives. This madness and bloodshed is of your own making. You broke the peace, not Garlemald.
Peace. Order. You kill our peoples, despoil our lands, take everything that is ours. And what? You expect us to lick the boot that grinds our faces into the dirt?
I think Raya Senna is the leader of the Conjurers Guild. And eventually, like, also the White Mage, but yeah. I think her name has Senna in it also.
I expect you to weigh the costs. To recognize that countless lives have been lost on both sides in pursuit of a greater good, and to not squander all we have achieved in a fit of petulance.
Kane Senna. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I'm not gonna remember.
Your
it.
Radiance. I fear I can personally attest to the dangers of pursuing one's vision with such righteous fervor.
Emmerich. I didn't actually recognize he was here.
For 1,000 years, the Holy See of Ishgard waged war with dragons. 1,000 years of sacrifice, of sorrow and hate, in which we bathed in the blood of friend and foe alike. Had it gone on any longer, we may well have drowned. Yet we have chosen to raise ourselves out of this bloody spiral, and have since made peace with our former enemy.
So I understand. No doubt the dragons were more receptive to your overtures in the wake of their leader's demise. You speak of peace, yet use war to achieve it. Your father would not have bothered to obscure his intent with honeyed words. He understood that strength is all that matters in the end.
Technically, the dragons didn't necessarily like being led by Nidhogg, but he was so powerful and commanding that they had no choice, I think. Which is a pretty good allegory for you, Varis, whatever.
Without his clarity of vision, I can but wonder what will become of Ishgard and her people.
They're gonna be fine, Varis. That was a bad argument, but whatever.
There was a time when Garlemald, too, lacked a leader of conviction. Weak and unable to wield magic, we were at the mercy of the strong, from whom we sought refuge in the bitter cold of the north. Were it not for the discovery of ceruleum and the subsequent development of magitech, we might never have gained the power to take back that which was rightfully ours.
You speak as if your people were the first to have been driven from their homes. Limsa Lominsa was built by wayward souls in search of a place to call their own. On the shores of Vilbrand we found it, and from those humble beginnings did we grow and flourish. and all, without robbing our neighbours of their liberty.
So saith the pirate. Am I to believe that you simply asked the kobolds to yield up their lands and that they were happy to oblige you? That you did not drive them out like rats in the hold of one of the many ships seized by your privateers?
He ain't dumb.
I will concede that after centuries of exile, reclamation may be mistaken for invasion. Nevertheless, it is not. And those who till stolen soil have no right to object when cast out in turn.
Your uncompromising nature rivals that of the Ixal.
Kane Senna. I said Kane O Senna, but that was close.
They too lament circumstances which they themselves perpetuate. Were they but to embrace peace, we would welcome them with open arms. Indeed, some few have done just that, and now receive of the 12's Wood's bounty. Would that your people might learn from their example.
Alright, is this the argument that's finally gonna win? Nope. We'll see. He laughs.
You dare compare us to the Birdmen? You who thought to invoke the 12 and threaten all of creation?
I don't know what that was in reference
I
to.
came here in the hope of finding some speck of common ground, but I see now these discussions will accomplish nothing. Despite what you people may believe, I am not wont to choose the sword over the olive branch. 'Tis but a pity men are loath to accept one without first being shown the other.
He's like twice
Wait! I beg you. This meeting was supposed to be a chance to find a way forward together, not to bemoan the missteps which brought us here.
He's like twice as big as Robon.
Please. If you truly consider violence a last resort, there must be a way we can come to an agreement.
That was Alisaie, by the way. She's the last to speak. Well, actually, Robon... Has Robon spoken?
As Mistress Alisaie says, we did not come here to bicker over the past, but to discuss how we might strive towards a brighter future. Emperor Varis, may I suggest a short recess, that all present might compose themselves prior to beginning anew?
Very well. I pray this intermission will suffice to move these talks in a more constructive direction.
No direction. I took a dive and all the way down. I saw you. You saved me from myself. And I won't forget the way you love me. So he walks off. God damn it. It's not... That's a funny aging. There's a slow age filter on Instagram. That's supposed to go like year by year of aging. Oh. Oh no. Anyway. Okay, cool. So speak with Alisaie here. Phew, this is really not my forte. After his Radiance's little performance, it was all I could do not to swear at him. I honestly don't know how I ended up playing the mediator. I just asked myself what Alphinaud would have done, tried my best to do the same, and by some miracle, it worked. But there really is no common ground to be found with that man, nor do I think he looked for any. So the question becomes, what did he come here to do? Because you may be certain it wasn't to make peace. Whatever it is, I can't make it out. Not yet, at least. We do have a little time before the Parley is due to reconvene, though, so why not try consulting our illustrious leaders? Mayhap they have some insight to share. Merlwib is the first in my view. I will say one thing for the Varis, for this Varis. He is well versed in the Orzian history. His interest in our affairs is that of a beast in its prey. The conqueror would know his enemies, says Conesena. All should know their enemies, yet there is much and more we do not know of the Empire. My options. I'm sure Varis would be happy to tell you more, or then it's up to us to change that here and now. Then it's up to us to change that here and now. I say to the two of them. Ha! You would have me ask the Emperor himself? Well, mayhap there is some wisdom in that. If we can skirt the storm of his displeasure, we may yet come to our answers, even if it does mean sailing close to the wind. Right, Nanamo's talking to Lys and Raban. 12 have mercy, but for Lady Alisaie's timely interjection, we might well have come to blows at the negotiating table. Not that Emperor Varis left us a great many options. Is unconditional surrender all he will accept, do you think? Ere he arrived, I'd have said yes, but having heard him speak, I cannot help but think he came with some other end in mind. Exactly! He's building up to something, I know it! That was my version of Lys, sorry. Now, how then should we approach the rest of the parley? Have you anything to say, Warrior of Light? Says Nanamo. Invite Varis to explain himself, or say nothing of Xenos or the Asians. I'm going to say, invite Varis to explain himself. You believe he is more apt to reveal the truth if we put him at ease? Mayhap you are right. Thank you, Mercy, says Nanamo. Lastly is Hien talking to Emmerich. This probably was never like to bring priests, but I had hoped to learn something of Emperor Varys' relationship with the Asians. As well as had we all. Yet if he is in league with them, he is not like to volunteer the fact. If he is not, how much weaker would his position seem for their presence? If we are to broach that particular subject, we will need to be subtle. Would that I knew more of the man, if you would indulge me. Lord Hien, you received an imperial education, did you not? Is it true that the Emperor's will is considered absolute? There is no higher authority in all of Garlemald, nor else in the heavens, come to that. Veneration of the gods is forbidden, the only worship permitted being that of his Radiance's own person. My options. That sounds suspiciously like a religion in itself, or da-da-da-da-da. I don't know what da-da-da-da. Silence. I share your disdain for their hypocrisy. Even as they denigrate the idea of faith, they revere their leader with a fervor that others reserve for the divine. 'Tis a flaw common to much of the doctrine they fed us, logical on the surface perhaps, but contradictory upon closer examination. I wonder if a discussion of the various discrepancies might prompt Varys to reveal something. I don't know. Alright, back to Alisaie. Sorry for all those really horrible impersonations. You've spoken with everyone, then? Good. Now all that remains is to await the pleasure of the Emperor, and hope we fare better at the second attempt. Cutscene.
Now then, who would have the floor?
The representative of California has the floor. Being brought to the president's gas man.
Before we resume,
Nanamo.
I wish to offer you an apology. After you graciously accepted our invitation to discuss an armistice, we have done naught but rebuke you at every opportunity. I believe I speak for all of us when I say we are deeply sorry for our discourtesy.
I'll admit your familiarity with our affairs surprised me, and served to remind me how little I know of yours.
I think all here can understand the desire to reclaim one's homeland. But why expand further? That is my question.
If I may, the answer can be found in the imperial doctrine they took great pains to impart to my people. Recognizing the threat icons pose to the world, Solus Zos Galvus decreed that they were to be eradicated. To this end, he began a campaign to unite all lands under the Garlean banner. Or so we were taught. Yet the Emperor only reached the burn, the Baron said to have been laid waste by Icons, after conquering all the lands that lay between. What is more, I am quite certain the practice of summoning was not nearly so widespread in the days before the Empire's founding.
When you put it like that, it all starts to sound like an excuse, doesn't it? But to distract from what? Why are you really waging this war?
We see a couple of moths.
Finally, you ask the right question.
Trying to get into the lights overhead.
I can but hope you heed mine answer, and at last accept the righteousness of our cause. My goal is this: to return the world to the way it once was, the way it was always meant to be. In doing so, mankind will be made whole once more.
He looks at all of us, one at a time.
No longer will we suffer from the dissension born of our differences. There will be but one race, a perfect race, as we were when time began.
Wait, okay, the first thing you said was good. The second thing was... What?
What in Rolga's name are you talking about?
Yeah.
I am talking about the origins of this star, of the source and its 13 reflections. At the instant of the great sundering, 'twas not only the world that was shattered, but mankind itself. Thus were we divided into myriad races, each with its own unique imperfections. That is why man looks upon his neighbor and feels fear and hatred, why he wages war, why he kills his brother. You all in your own way have proven as much today. The peace you seek is but a fleeting solution to a fundamental problem. One which calls for more drastic measures.
I didn't expect them to go kinda... And I don't generally use this term at all, but... to go kinda Nazi with this speech from Varis?
To bring about everlasting peace, our worlds must be rejoined.
Unless I'm like misunderstanding?
That is the goal the Empire would see realized. The glorious future unto which we shall one day shepherd mankind.
A rejoining of worlds.
Merlvib.
I have heard this tale of the source and its reflections before.
Kane Senna.
Are these not the self-same desires as the Asians?
Emperor Varis, do not trust in their words. They will lead you to your doom.
Emmerich.
My father thought to use them, but in the end he succumbed to their temptations. He embraced summoning like so many other pawns before him. Do not tell us you mean to do the same.
To be a pawn, free from the burden of choice, would be a blessing. But I forswore that privilege the day I learned that the Garlean Empire was built by the hand of an Asian.
Ooh, he's revealing it.
What?
Yes. My grandsire, the former emperor, is of their number. And who better to build an empire capable of bringing about the calamitous change we desire? Would you condemn me for this alliance, for bowing to the will of these shadowy masters, when the prize is true and lasting peace?
My options are your prize is a lie, your master's demons, or I will stop you and the Asians, no matter the cost. Your prize is a lie, your master's demons.
I come not
He
to
stands
conquer, but to liberate. To free man from the prison of divergence.
Doesn't seem like a prison.
Imagine a world united. One perfect race beneath a single standard.
I mean, that's fine if it doesn't require the wiping out of all the other races.
An army before whose might these servants of darkness and light would fly as leaves in a storm, never again to meddle in man's affairs. We would be the masters of our own fate.
You think if you... See, this is where the flaw is, I think. You believe that if you were to get the entire world of Eorzea down to but a single race again, then you would no longer have the Asians trying to fuck shit up? Because that doesn't make sense.
I bid you join me, not as subjects of Garlemald, but of a new nation. And together we shall win freedom for ourselves and generations yet unborn.
His mouth moves kind of weird, but I don't know if any of the mouths of any of these people...
You want to trigger another half-dozen calamities? You can't be serious!
Actually, yeah. So these other mouths move more normally than his does for whatever reason. Raban looks back to his past with the last
Have you
time
forgotten how many died? There will be no one left.
Do you truly imagine we would aid you in your bloodletting?
It is unthinkable, unconscionable.
Con A Senna in Varis. Con A Senna, Varis. The rest of us stand up as well.
And what is the alternative? To be as cattle waiting for slaughter? I would have us work together that we might take fate into our own hands.
Against who again? The Asians?
Into your hands, perhaps.
I'll say. She remembers the...
But what of the other worlds, your radiance?
old wars of
With
life.
every calamity, you obliterate a star and every soul that dwells on it.
Wait, really? Is that true?
To the Asians, we are all but tiny, momentary specks within an indifferent universe. We cannot hope to oppose them until we have been made whole once more.
Are these truly the words of Garlemald's ruler? The flaws and foibles which you so abhor are what make us who we are. Every nation, even yours, Emperor Varis, is made whole through the combination of these imperfections, the strengths of one compensating for the weaknesses of another. While it is true that man succumbs all too often to anger and avarice, he may yet overcome his baser instincts through the forming of bonds with others, fostering community and cooperation. That the protector of an empire should not only reject these fundamental truths, but seek to change them at so dear a cost to life is indefensible. Such a man is not fit to govern.
And you, warrior of light, would you refuse me as well?
I cannot condone such a loss of life, or we can defeat the Asians as we are. We can defeat the Asians as we are. Everyone nods on the right side of Nanamo, on the left side of Nanamo. She closes her
It would
eyes for a
seem the
second.
Alliance is of one mind on this matter.
You Eorzeans never cease to disappoint me. Though I suppose I have only myself to blame for expecting more from savages. This discussion is at an end. I bid you make ready for our next meeting. It will not be at the negotiating table.
It's interesting to call someone else savages when, like, they have a perfectly reasonable discussion with you and use logic and other reasoning tools. He walks off much faster than he normally does walk. Well, in that part of the video, it was like 1.5 times faster, but like as he was leaving the table originally, it was like 2 times faster. Okay, we're talking to Lise. We are in Eorzean Alliance headquarters, which is kind of near the locks, whatever the fuck that is. I've probably been there. I came back to find Doma's advance party ready and waiting for battle, so as worrying as our little chat with the Emperor was, it did buy enough time for at least some of our allies to arrive. Parley on the front lines is complete. I will take critical hit food, and I will continue my new thing where this video will be sponsored is the wrong word, but there's a company or a brand called Sparkling Ice, which you probably have already heard of. I buy the strawberry lemonade 0 sugar 12 pack on Amazon, and I buy it often. It's fucking a fantastic drink for keto, especially if you want kind of like some sweet flavors in your diet. Once again, well, actually, so before that, it's got a ton of different flavors, like a lot of different flavors. So pick one you like, try it out. If you use my link, my link is probably only for the strawberry lemonade now that I'm thinking about it, but I mean, what am I to do? Because that's the only one I actually buy, so that's the one I have the link for. But if you do happen to buy the strawberry lemonade, I get a cut from it. Only buy it if it's something you're interested in. I'm not doing this specifically trying to like goad people into buying things to give me money, but if you end up liking the things that I like, I mean, I get money from it, as long as you use the link to buy it. So Sparkling Ice, 0 sugar, strawberry lemonade. Hope you guys have a great time. I'll see you next time. Bye.